Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you a review of the new Physicians Formula Butter Eyeshadow Palettes. They just released these two new palettes. I'm going to be sharing a tutorial and I had a couple different issues that were really weird in my tutorial, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. So if you guys want to know everything about these new Physicians Formula Eyeshadow Palettes, then just keep on watching. Alright, so these two new palettes just released from Physicians Formula. I bought them on the Physicians Formula website. They are $16.95 each. Both of them come with 12 shadows. This one is the Tropical Days, and then this one is the Sultry Nights palette. I originally thought that I would like the colors in the Tropical Days palette more because you do have warmer shades and like a couple pops of colors, but this is mostly a matte palette compared to the Sultry Nights palette. You do have a lot of warm shades, but you really just have like two shimmer shades in this palette, and then the rest of it is all mattes. And then the Sultry Nights palette is a little bit more cool tone. It has half matte shades, half shimmer shades. The shimmer shades are like warm and cool, and then most of the mattes in here are a bit cool tone, and you do have like that one purple shade and a blue shade too, but definitely the Tropical Days palette has a little bit more pops compared to this one. This one's a bit more neutral. Okay, so those are both of the palettes, but I want to get right into the tutorial so you guys can see how I got this eye look, but also a couple weird things that happened while I was applying the shadows and swatching them. So let's go right into the tutorial. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the Sultry Nights palette. This one actually just has some more shimmer shades and like really pretty like foiled colors. I actually thought I would end up liking the Tropical Days palette more. I did film a Instagram tutorial with this, which will probably be up like right around the same time that this video goes live. So I'm going to be using this palette. I'm going to start off with this little shade up here. It's just like a matte beige color, and I really do like the mattes in here a lot. And then next I'm going to go in with this light brown shade. This one's a little bit cool tone, and just build that up into my crease. This is a little bit more of a cool tone palette, especially when it comes to the mattes. And then to deepen this up, I'm going to go in with this darker matte brown color, just focusing it in my outer corner. I'm just gonna push it up into my crease. I think I wanna go with the olive shimmer shade in this palette. And then I do get a little bit of fallout with the matte shades. You see a little bit of like kick up in the pan. So it is a little bit powdery, but it does end up building up like really, really pigmented. And then I'm gonna go right in with the olive shade in the center of the palette. And even the Tropical Days, like they're pretty much the same layout. It has a similar like chunkier glittery shade as well. And when I try to apply this on my lid, it worked better with my finger versus a brush because it is like a little bit more of a textured formula. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this. It feels super, super creamy. I'm gonna apply this with my finger. It basically feels, it is a little chunkier, so you're gonna get some fallout, but it basically feels like a cream shadow. But I'm just gonna apply it to my other eye, and then I wanna go in with like one or two more of the shimmer shades. All right, so something really weird just happened. I wiped off the eyeshadow that I had on my finger, and now my finger's red from using this green eyeshadow, and I don't know why, and it's making me freak out a little bit, and I really want to take this off my eyes now because it's making me like freak out. I did actually swatch this and apply this on my eye earlier. I had it on for several hours, took it off in the shower, and it was like no problem. Once I used a makeup remover, it was totally gone. There was no staining on my eye with this exact same shade, but now that I'm like packing it on, I don't know why, that makes me like, I need to take this off. Like my hands are turning red from the shadow. I wiped it off with this wipe with just that green shadow, and there's red all over it, and it's freaking me out. So like, oh my gosh, I don't know why my hands are all red. Let's see. So I'm gonna take one for the team. So if I like keep this on for like a couple seconds, and let's see if my finger turns red so you guys can see what happened. And then I need to take this off my eyes because I'm freaking out. Okay, so this is so, I don't like this. Why am I turning red? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, a little bit. right there. I don't like this. I'm taking this off. Oh my gosh, that's making me so nervous. I used like all of the other regular shades. I used this palette. I used a lot of the shimmer shades. I used the blues, the pinks, and like the shimmers in here. Like the other shimmers, they have a different formula, and that did not happen. Like my whole hand is red. Okay, so I'm actually gonna take this off. I'm gonna start over. Oh my God, my eyes are red. I don't like that. I don't like that. That makes me nervous. Okay, so it's not that bad. Okay. All right, I'm glad I took that off because that's fine. Like it's not like dramatic staining compared to like just seeing my fingers. That's really intense. Like on my lid, it's totally fine. All right, so I think, yeah, this eye is totally fine, but just like swatching on my finger and only having it on my finger for like a minute, I didn't want to go like the rest of the day and have it like stain my eyes badly. And I know some shadows stain, but like how quickly it stained on my finger just really weirded me out. So here's a makeup wipe where I just took off my eyeshadow and you could see like the red. Oh, that made me so nervous. I thought I was like, my eyes were gonna fall out or something. All right, so we're gonna start over with the other shadows. I'm just using ColourPop concealer. This is a thick concealer, so it's gonna act as a barrier in case it does stain on my eyes. ColourPop no filter. But the reason I want to go ahead and do a second look or try again is because like I've already worn this palette and this is like brand new information to me. Like I did not have that issue. It's just, I don't know if I like got too far in the pan with this shadow where it becomes like creamier, and that's why, I don't know. Somebody help, like somebody tell me what's going on. If you know why like a creamier based shadow would do that. All right, so I'm gonna set my eyes again with that same matte shadow. I'm so blown away by that staining. I'm glad it didn't stain my face. It's just my fingers, and I hope I'll give you guys a little update in the comment box, but I'm pretty sure this will just like wash off. And I'm actually just gonna go ahead and use both palettes together just to change things up since I'm doing like a different look than I originally planned. So I'm gonna go in with this warm brown shade because I really do like this shade. It actually reminds me of the shade of the butter bronzer, and it's like really creamy and pigmented. My mind is like blown right now because like I really didn't have anything bad to say about these palettes when I sat down a couple minutes ago when I got started because I really like the formulas of all the other shades. Okay, so let's go in a little bit with, I think both of these darker brown colors are like the same shade pretty much. So I'm just gonna use one of them just like I did for the other look and apply that in my outer corner. All right, so I'm just gonna wet my brush, and you could even tell like on the bottom of my hand where there was no eyeshadow, why is like my whole hand stained? Okay, I'm just gonna go in with one of these two coppery tones from the Sultry palette. Let's go in with this like bronzy gold shade. These are really smooth, really creamy. Shadows are so pretty. I'm sad now. Like all the other formulas, so this one I wonder, I'll swatch it in a minute too, because I didn't like really pack it onto my lid, this shade. I had just like swatched it. But that's the same formula as this green shadow, but the other like shimmer shades, they all glide on to your eyes really nicely in both palettes. So I don't expect to see any staining from those because those are a different formula and definitely not, like the other shadows almost feel like the ColourPop pot shadows, whatever they're called, where it almost feels like a cream base, like almost like a slippery, oily base, where it really sticks onto your lid. And these feel like regular, like foiled, or like more metallic shadows. And then I'm just gonna go back in with a pencil brush and pack on a little bit more of this dark brown shade into my inner corner, or outer corner. I was really hoping to do an olive eye look, but I guess it would have turned into red all over my eyes. So I didn't feel comfortable keeping that on. I'm sure you guys would probably feel the same. All right, so I want to see if this shadow gives me like that same effect. Because if it doesn't, if there's like no staining, then I definitely want to use this one in my inner corner. So moment of truth, let's see. Okay, this one's totally fine. Yeah. No staining with that shadow. Maybe it's just like that one green. And then let me try out like really swatching and getting a little bit deeper in the palette with this shade that is that same texture of the green shadow. I don't feel like this one's gonna stain either, because with the other green shadow, like as soon as I looked at my hand, I could see like the red peeking through. Yeah, this one's totally fine. It's just that green shadow. So with that being the case, I'm gonna go ahead and apply this shimmer shade from the Sultry palette and pop that into my inner corner. So I think I'm just gonna go in and add some glitter from Urban Decay. Normally I don't like to add extra products when I'm reviewing one palette, but because this is kind of like a weird video and glitter just makes everything in my life better, let's just go for it and do like a little half cut crease just to spice up the eye look a little bit more. All right, so lashes are on, and despite like all of the obstacles, I really like how this eyeshadow look came out. I feel like I was a little frantic applying my eyeshadow, so it might not be like the most perfectly blended look I've done, but it definitely came together a lot better than how we started. And I did want to tell you guys, I looked on the back of like both palettes because I was wondering if it was like similar to the James Charles Morphe palette, where that causes staining for some of the eyeshadows, and I actually didn't have any staining with that palette. And this is labeled as an eyeshadow palette. I know some shadows that are gonna cause staining are called like pressed pigments, but this is just labeled eyeshadow. And then on the back it does say hypoallergenic, clinically tested, ophthalmologist tested, dermatologist tested, oil-free, which is weird because the one shadow that did cause staining does feel like it has like oil. Maybe it's like some kind of like oily base. Paraben-free, cruelty-free, gluten-free. So those are all of the claims on the shadow, so I'm not sure why that specific one gave me staining on my hand. I did wash my hands and I still have like a little bit of the red on this hand. I did wash my hands like 3 times, so I don't know if you guys formulate eyeshadows. Let me know what the case may be, because I've never experienced that with like any other eyeshadow or any even like pressed pigment palettes that are known to cause staining. So let me know your thoughts about that. If you have any more insight about that, I love to know, because I totally did not expect that. Swatching the other shades, applying the other shades on my eyes, and doing other eye looks with this palette, I had no issue with. So I went into this like having like only positive things to say, but that one shadow, applying and packing it over and over, ended up being like a whole nother story. I didn't have any issues with any of the shadows in here. I will say just like these 2 shades, the purple and the blue, they're not as like pigmented as I would like them to be. Like it's not something that's gonna be like really vibrant when you swatch them. Even like the staining looks like a pigmented shade, but it's just my hand stained from the eyeshadow. So the purple and the blue, like they're very faint in the tropical palette. And then also the blue in the Sultry Nights palette is not as pigmented as the other shades as well. It's gonna be more faint. So some of those colorful tones aren't gonna like pop as much as like every other shade. So obviously like a very interesting experience with these palettes. Like otherwise it was super positive. And like I said, when I started off with that green shadow, it was totally fine applying it on my eyes, swatching it, no staining. But once I got past like that top layer, yeah, things just went south. So that was like definitely like a no. But everything else was totally fine. So that's kind of like my overall thoughts. Like I don't know if I recommend these palettes because I like everything else about it, but like that staining issue really freaked me out. But that's just gonna be where we leave off with these palettes. You can get a gorgeous look or you can get staining with that green shadow. I hope that doesn't happen to anybody else. And I also want to let you guys know it wasn't like an allergic reaction or anything like that. It was just staining from that specific shadow. It didn't like irritate my skin or anything. So that was just like a weird experience, but that's just where I'm gonna leave this to you guys to decide about these palettes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you guys liked this weird review video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.